They came for my friends. They came for my family. No matter what the cost. The Empire has taken everything I love. I will destroy them all.
What's going on, everyone? Great Talon here, and today the prey is going to be my Timespinner review, reviewed on the Nintendo Switch, but also out for the PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Vita. PlayStation Vita, that's right. So anyway, in a world that has seemingly never-ending supply of platforming, side-scrolling, Metroidvania-style games in this day and age, I must say that Timespinner here stuck out for me in delivering quite the addictive experience I have not felt since the Symphony of the Night days, in tandem with its recent spiritual successor, Bloodstained: Ritual of the Night as well. In this mystical journey into the lands of the unknown, you will discover loss and sacrifice comes at a great price while wielding the power of time to transport back and forth between different time zones and realities to put an end to an evil empire once and for all, and some of the most pivotal revelations being unveiled along the journey. It's simple yet addictive fun, so let's see why Timespinner is so noteworthy. And is even listed on one of my top indie games in my indie games ranking list of the past decade, which I will actually link in the description below as well for anybody who cares to check it out. So graphics and performance are up first as always. I was playing Timespinner on my Nintendo Switch in handheld mode for the most part, and it played perfectly with no crashes or hiccups whatsoever in my entirety of playing. The visuals are presented in a 2D sprite format that resembles 16-bit graphics and the days of the Super Nintendo and Genesis of old, and have a nostalgic look in regards to the character models as well, and the vast environments that you're set to explore, from castle keeps to guard towers to military bases to swamps and lakes and underground laboratories and caverns. All in all, they are colored vibrantly and robustly to showcase the time period in which you are present in. If you're in the past and in a said location, you will notice it looks quite different from its future counterpart and vice versa, which I thought was really neat, a little attention to detail. Objects and elements such as lakes in the past may look blue, in the future they'll look a murky green to showcase what might have happened during the transpired years. Vines in the past can be burned down and destroyed also, and so the path is cleared in that location, the same location in the future, which I also thought was a pretty cool integration and display. Now onto the gameplay and a bit about the control. Timespinner is a 2D side-scrolling platformer crafted in a Metroidvania-like scale. This means that you will spend the majority of your time platforming through a series of interconnected large maps with fast travel portals at certain checkpoints as you traverse the landscape. You are also equipped with the floating orbs that you can upgrade and add various types of weaponry attacks to each orb that range from elemental attacks like ice, lightning, and fire to physical attacks like swords and hammers. And just, you know, you can freaking do that. And I went that way, and I went tank class, which we call it. And you'll just absolutely wreck if you go with tank class by the end of the game. I was using a sword orb and a hammer orb, and by the time I reached the end of the game, I was doing crazy damage, like almost one-shotting enemies for the most part. You can also change your gear too, from the cap and armor to necklaces and rings, enhance your orb and attack power, and even boost your defense. Gears and orbs are upgraded by collecting gold rings, necklaces, or elemental beads or crystals scattered throughout the environments. You're also granted aura attacks, which are pretty much your magical attack power that recharges slowly over time, and can also be enhanced with orbs, as well as range from elemental attacks to physical ones, and even defensive or platform building techniques such as radiant light, which will allow you to use your aura points to build temporary light walls so you can reach even higher elevations. Your primary attacks will be in the form of hacking and slashing at enemies for the majority of the game, and you can even equip a familiar that, like you can have in Castlevania, that follows you around. And it can aid you in battle, and it can also be leveled up as well. Along your journey, you will also gather permanent character upgrades such as double jump abilities, quick dash move that will help you tremendously when traversing around those hard to reach areas. Another key gameplay mechanic is the ability to freeze time, which is why this game is called Timespinner. And what you do is you hit a little hourglass in the upper left hand corner that you can see, and you can replenish by killing your enemies or striking destructible objects like lamps or light posts to regain sand. By freezing time, you'll be able to freeze enemies in place and use them as platforms. It's funny, and you can use them as ledges, and you can climb up on them to get to areas otherwise unreachable. and when it comes in quite handy too in most enemy encounters and boss fights, where an enemy will telegraph their attacks, general or boss fights, and you can simply freeze time, jump behind them, and unfreeze time and spank them silly, which is what I did often. Controlling the main character around is quite easy and done so with finesse, and you will not have any issues. The controls here, as I found, navigation, platforming, and combat were airtight and responsive. A bit about the story, narrative, and campaign. So you play as a time messenger named Lunace. I think the S is silent. Lune, who was sent back in time after her mother's demise to try and change the past, to restore the Timespinner, which has been destroyed in the present, so she can restore her kingdom and in turn bring back her mother back from the untimely death. Along the way, Lune meets a cast of likable characters in which aid her along her journey, and quests that possesses some shocking discoveries and revelations along the way as well, which I won't spoil, but just so you know that it does have the potential to change the course of her history as she knows it. The setting goes back and forth between the past and future, as you can be able to complete side quests, even main quests as well, going back and forth with the time portals. It's done quite brilliantly, if I might add. Some side quests, from friendly NPCs require you to travel ahead to the future to find out outcomes of wars, empires, and collecting and so on and so forth, collecting various artifacts, while other quests are simply ingredient gathering or enemy slaying quests. The narration is told numerously spread out text bubble pop-up scenes as well, and there is no voice dialogue in the game. So in regards to the sound and music, it's really quite catchy, if I do say so myself. It's somewhat reminiscent to the likes of Castlevania and Bloodstained, like fused together into one. Especially in the Royal Guard or Castle Tower section of the game, which I feel like was ripped straight from the 1997 Symphony of the Night Castlevania soundtrack. Which, hey, it's fine by me. Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Go on fixing it, I always say. The sound effects from enemies, characters, and inanimate objects in the game sound pretty accurate and cool as well. I noticed everything syncs up well for the most part. In regards to the replay value, I'm going to go say here on record, say it's high, because with it's only about a 10-hour journey, multiple endings, new game plus mode, find lots to come back for here and to do in Timespinner. That and the fact that this game promotes such a wildly wondrous sensation of wanderlust that in a 2D scope is something to be impressed with, if you ask me. Most of the time I wasn't even progressing in the story. I was just trying to find secret destructible walls or hidden areas and upgrades and unlockables to beef up my arsenal and persona, which to me is a sign of a truly great gaming experience, when you don't even give a shit about the progressing and you just want to play the game to play the game, you know what I mean? Now time for the overall score, and is it worth your time? So Timespinner will tantalize your very senses with its wondrous journey from start to finish. It's a delightful tale that starts off somewhat somber and dark, but evolves into a tale of hope and redemption by the journey's end. That end mixed with some of the most addictive exploration and simple yet effective combat and upgrade system that I've played in quite a while, well, since Bloodstained a little while ago. It's simple yet effective upgrade system that will, and multiple outcomes and endings will keep you well entertained and returning for more even after the credits roll on New Game Plus. This is why I have to score it at 8.5 out of 10. As the only flaws I can see is that the game may be too easy for some. It does seem to be focused and targeting a more younger, more adolescent or elementary youth audience to introduce them to one of the best gaming genres of all time, almost like the Metroidvania style of which has been dubbed the name. and in the past, so, which yes, it is worth anyone's time who has a sense of adventure and exploration and doesn't mind a bit of backtracking and simple combat along the way. So with that being said, that's my review of Timespinner. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and of course subscribe. And thanks for stopping by as always. I appreciate you guys' support, as you know. And thank you for stopping by and have a great day. I will catch you on the next one.